Now it'll be run by 10 fat men who will sit in a room. I say that joking, but I know all of them, and they are overweight. 10 fat men will sit in a room, and they'll pick who the delegates are. So what you're doing to your party is you're emasculating your party. You are destroying the infrastructure of your party. There's no sense of ownership. What you want to give people to win is a sense of ownership. So they want to go to a precinct caucus. They want to be part of it because they own it. They get to become voted a delegate to go to the district convention. And at the district convention, you want those people empowered, because to win the election, you're going to need people working at the state level like an army.
If that's a guy who sounds like he knows what he's talking about, it's because that guy knows what he's talking about. That's Doug Wead. He was a former senior advisor to the Ron Paul presidential campaign. He worked on Mr. Paul's 2012 campaign when it was so remarkably successful at amassing way more delegates than anybody expected, only for, to a certain extent, only for the RNC to basically change the rules on the convention floor and basically disenfranchise those folks that they'd worked so hard to get to the convention. It is a strange sidebar story to 2012. It is a story that has been basically written out of official Republican history, even though it only happened 4 years ago. It's starting to feel, though, like it might be really, really important for understanding what the party's about to go through now. Joining us now, I'm very happy to say, is Mr. Doug Wead. Doug, it's great to see you again. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Good to see you, too. You're a brilliant lady, Rachel. I've been watching this.
Well, that's nice of you to say.
You figured it out.
Well, what did you guys know at the Ron Paul campaign in 2012 that the rest of the campaigns didn't? You obviously were onto something that blindsided everybody else.
Yeah, we knew that the back door was open. You see the FBI wanting Apple to come up with a back door so they can go through the encryption and get those messages. We saw that the party left the back door open, and there are these delegates and tote boards that go up at the New York Times and on MSNBC, but those are delegates in theory based on the rules of the GOP party in the given state. But the actual delegates are human beings like you and me. And they may not like Trump or Cruz or Rubio, and they may, but they're individuals. And those are the people that need to be recruited and placed by the campaigns.
It sounds like you feel like the conversations about how this might go this year with all this excitement about a possible open convention, it sounds like you feel like at least the media discussion, maybe the political pros talking about this, generally don't know what they're talking about. They're kind of speaking from a position of either naivete or maybe ignorance in terms of what this is really going to be like.
That's very true. And it's fascinating, the story you just showed your viewers. The establishment Republicans are reverse engineering it. They know how close they came to falling prey to our insurgency campaign last time. And so now they see Trump running away with it, and they say, wait a second, this guy, he's forever changed presidential campaigning. He's brilliant at branding. He knows how to plan an event. But he, too, has left the back door open just like we did 4 years ago. And this time, those delegates are ours. They're basically Mitt Romney delegates that were recruited 4 years ago, and they're in place to re-coronate President incumbent Mitt Romney.
Wow. Well, you know, however this goes and however it works, part of the reason I wanted to kind of make a big deal out of the story from 2012 is just the tape, is watching the local news coverage of, and the YouTube videos of what happened there. I look, Doug, at those heated fights and the security being called in and the arrests in some cases, even some injuries in a couple of cases, and the real anger, the real upset, and I see that from 2012. And I worry about what this might be like this summer, when I think it's going to happen on a much, much larger scale, not at an edge of party politics, but right in the heart of it. Do you worry about that?
Yes, and it hasn't quite started the way you're going to see it. For example, you showed Louisiana to your viewers. The Louisiana State Convention happened on March 12th, so it's already passed. But Donald Trump, there's 47 delegates there. Donald Trump carried 42% of the state, and I guarantee you those delegates are not supporters of Donald Trump. Some are Santorum, some are leftover Romney from 4 years before. before, because Trump has not organized a ground game. Now he's going to now, and he will do in Texas to select some of those actual delegates, and California's wide open. So he's got a chance to get some of his own people at the convention. That's where it's going to get hot and heavy, and you're going to see these fights at the district conventions and county conventions and state conventions as the establishment tries to stop Donald Trump from getting his own people to represent him and the votes that he won in those primaries.
Doug Wead, invaluable insight and perspective. I hope you will come back and talk to us about this again as this unfolds over the next few weeks, sir.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. Doug Wead, former senior advisor to the Ron Paul presidential campaign. I'm telling you, the reporting, people are going to make their reporting chops this year at those district and state conventions, because if 2012 is anything to go by, it's going to be off the hook. We'll be right back.